nice and tidy edited down video, but I have ways for you to make it faster. You can click that little gear. Oh yeah, I forgot. That intro lost some audio at the beginning, so I just cut it off so you're not crazy. And what that intro says is that this is a live stream, so it is not an edited video, but if you're watching this on the replay, you can use the speed controls to speed it up. You can turn on the subtitles or closed captions to see what I'm saying. And you can skip ahead and go backwards. You can do that all you want. And if you want to see what I'm responding to people are saying, you need to show chat. And that shows up as a variety of different methods depending on the device you're using. So look for like a speech bubble to enable, or the words show chat or hide chat. It's different than commenting. Chat is a live interaction. So please feel free to join. So I need to fix that. I don't know what happened to the audio at the beginning of that thing, but I have to fix it, and I'm getting a new editing computer soon, and I'll do it then. So yeah. Hi, welcome. I'm Saremy. Hi, Muslin. Hi, Amy. Hi, Aisha. Yeah, this is my new Luff bag. So I don't think I've shown it on stream, because I think I made it like the day after I streamed last, and I just realized that, oh, I'm going to show them this because I love it. Yeah, I thought you'd want to see it in person. So it has this one little back pocket here, and I cut the lining for this in a lighter weight fabric, which I think was really smart because this outer fabric was pretty heavy. It has one zippered pocket, and this does fit my phone, which is quite large, and my glasses. And then it has one internal pocket right back here. And I just have pins and a little business card holder in here. The only modification I did was I sewed a line of stitches across the bottom of the pocket. Like, picture the pocket going all the way to the bottom here. And I just made it shorter so that I could put littler things like lip stuff in there. And then the volume's great. I have 3 grocery bags in here right now and my wallet. This is pretty much all I need. Usually these are in my car, but I went to the store like 3 times in the last couple days because we have a new grocery store and I'm into it. So, and then it has a nice strap. Oh, this is the other modification I did. I added these little strap-ins right here to attach my strap with. So usually you would attach the strap directly into the seam right here. And I wasn't sure I was going to be happy with the color of my strap. So by doing that, I gave myself the option to switch it out, you know, by unstitching this or cutting it off. So yeah. Anyway, I just thought I'd share it with you. It was really fun to sew. It is bound seams on the inside, so you can see. They're not that hard to sew. It is a round shape, but as long as you mark your centers, and even if you wanted to give yourself markings over here, I can't remember what the notch situation is on this pattern. So I'm sure there's notches to do, but if you don't have enough, give yourself quarters. And remember, it's on the inside of the bag. No one will see it. So anyway, thought I'd show you that. It was really fun. That's by, oh shoot. I forgot my little trivet was there for the iron. That's by So Liberated, who I now work for. And I just thought, oh, this would be fun to do one of their patterns that just came out. So good morning. Hi, Hillary. Hi, Hannah. Hi, Karen. You got the pattern too? Nice. My bag that I usually use was my Ideal bag. And I made that to fit my little miniature binder and my iPad, which I have a big iPad. But I don't always carry those. So I was ending up carrying this really big bag to hold my wallet. And I used to be just a wallet, phone, keys gal and lip stuff. That was it. But it is really nice not to have to shove those things into some of my pockets, even though I have pockets and everything. It's just nice to just put it in a purse and take the purse on and off. I will admit, I'm kind of all over the place when it comes to bags. I'm not truly a purse person. So anyway. Hi, Julie. How's it going? It was a satisfying make. I remember how I bought, I know a lot of you know this, but the fabric I used was spoon flour for the lining and the outer. And I had bought a fat quarter of every single spoon flour fabric base in order to do a video. And I wanted to just show the differences for garment making, because there's so much of their content now is on home dec. And I really love Spoonflower. It's super expensive, I get that. But at the same time, it's just truly, you can make yourself a truly unique garment, right? And I really want more people to be doing garment sewing with them so that they continue to come out with viable garment fabrics. And I thought, oh, this will be good. I'll just do a little overview. And I reached out to them. I was like, hey, I'm doing this. Do you guys have like, is there any way you could give me like a little code or something to give them a discount if they wanted to try? And I didn't even get a reply or a no. And I just sort of lost my steam on the video because I was like, I've been such a fan of theirs, but at the same time, I don't think it's everybody's thing. And I picked out so many amazing prints though for that video. I should show them to you guys sometime. They're right there. And the other day I finally gave myself permission to wash all of those and just start using them in things. I didn't need a purse. And then when this one fabric popped into my head for that bag, I was like, oh, I can't stop thinking about that. So it was hard to get it out of a fat quarter. The outer was the cypress cotton canvas. And then, wait. It was either I think it's the denim, or maybe it's the canvas. And then the lining I used was the other one. So really thick fabrics. I don't recommend using two such thick fabrics. I would use a heavy duty one on the outside and maybe something medium or light on the inside. So yeah, I got it. And by lining that one pocket, it helped me get it out of a fat quarter too. So it was really fun. I thought my throat was warmed up and now I'm like, no, it's not. Okay, so welcome. We're making the Donny. I am late to this party. My guild loves this shirt. They even have their own hashtag. It is a pull-over shirt with a notched collar, a back yoke with gathers in the back. There's a nice little flat sketch for you. And you can see their description. Boxy pole on top that's designed to be a workhorse in your wardrobe. Dartless top with a lapel collar and patch pocket. A lapel collar, that's an interesting way to phrase that. Lapel just means that when your collar is open, it folds back, and that it does have a lapel, right? This right here is the lapel. But any collar that unbuttons and flops open, it will create a little lapel, right? So it's not a lapel, it has a lapel, but it's called a notched collar. So, and then we did the collar talk the other day, just so I can make sure I'm true to that. Did I say hi to you, Anna? And let's see, it can be worn practically anything. Yeah. It tells you how to style it. But I've seen people making sleeveless Donnies, super cute. I think a Donny dress would be really cute, hence why I did the camp dress, the pullover camp dress streams earlier in the month. Or was that later in March? What day is it? Earlier in April. Oh my goodness. So, and I think this would be a perfect candidate for that. So based on a lot of their feedback, I sized down because it does have a lot of ease. And I don't think I should have done that. So my bust right now measures 42, which sort of surprised me because it was definitely not that large the last time I measured. So I'm really glad I measured because you just never know, right? He came late and I can't stay the whole time. So, oh yeah, no worries. No worries. So the large would be a 46-inch finished garment, giving me 4 inches of ease. So my bust measurement put me in the extra large, which would have been, yeah, the 40 to 43 range. But that would have given me 7 inches of ease. And 7 inches of ease is a lot. And so I definitely was looking at like how it fits these gals. And I was actually thinking about this in bed yesterday. I was kind of curious what size these, I'm sure it says somewhere in their stuff, like maybe on a blog or something. And I would really love to know what her bust measurement is and what size she's wearing, and same for her. Because look at this sleeve, the armhole here and the armhole here. Like that's so dropped on her and not so much her. So is she wearing the size that her bust recommended, and is she wearing a size down? You know, like I'm kind of curious. So anyway, hi Rachel. So anyway, I sized down, and I have receipts for you. So I have a little video. I look dreadful in this video. And I also have my dress form here with it on. My dress form's a little smaller than me. So I thought I'd show you my video. And then I took some screenshots of the pictures. So let's do it. So here's my video. And it'll play in a loop. But you can see, look at it, it won't lay flat in my back. Look at that. There's my hip tilt. Hi, hip tilt. The back is really tight on me. Look at that bust. Like, it's pretty small on me. I don't mind where the shoulders are at. They're not, like, the seam isn't in the right place, but I like the width across the shoulders, but it's not very dropped, obviously. So this is sizing down once. All right, and so here is the front. So this, to me, I want to know what you guys think. For me, this screams adding a dart or a full bust adjustment, whatever you want to call it. But adding a dart, I don't think you can see my mouse, but I'm going to show you what I'm talking about soon. I also don't really like the length. I think I would make this overall longer. So here is a side view without the sleeve. And there's two, at the shoulder here, there's two huge things happening. Do you see the shoulder seam just above my tattoo? It kind of dips down right there. That's so far back on me. I like my shoulder seam to hit more like, I wish you could see my mouse. Like, let's say like 1.5 inches in front of that. And then you can see I need a round back adjustment there. And then look at all the crashing happening down on my back. So the shoulder not being in the right place, the round back adjustment, the full bust adjustment are all gonna change the way this back armhole hangs. It would relax it a lot. And obviously the hip tilt thing is, you know, my special little friend. So what do I like about this? I like the center back yoke, you know, so I think I can work with this. Sleeve is kind of close fitting too. Like, I was kind of shocked at how close fitting the sleeve is, because even going up a size, that would not have changed the sleeve volume very much. Oh, really? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Perfect. Yeah, that's like what I'm thinking. Cool. All right, and then, yeah, Rachel, it's really far back. So here's the side with the sleeve on. So it obviously acts differently. I'll show you the with the sleeve and without the sleeve, just kind of toggle back and forth. So you can, what I like about, here's the thing, when you're fitting something, I'm fitting a lot of people right now working at So Liberated. I'm learning a lot too. So I like to see a garment without a sleeve, but here's the deal with doing that. Anytime you try on the garment without one sleeve, the garment's gonna pull toward the side with the sleeve. And so it's really hard to keep it kind of centered on your body. So bear that in mind if you do this. But I really like this because now I can see this gaping, right? Which in some ways would be covered up, right? It's in all ways covered up by this sleeve. And so I may interpret the close armhole fit as something else without seeing that gape, right? Yeah, exactly, Rachel. I think I'm going to do two things to that shoulder. So, so yeah, and then I can show you my, here she is right here. I'm just going to switch sides with her like this. So here she is. And remember, this dress form's smaller than me. So here's what I'm thinking. So can you see how all the lines are pointing right here at the bust? That right there is such a, to me, a hallmark of you need more, right? You need to open this up and lengthen it. Because just imagine this like dropping down and, you know, and then like having a dart that pinches all this fullness out, right? We can already just see a little bit of improvement. And do you see how the side seam kicks forward here? So once I lengthen across the front. And when we lengthen with a full bust adjustment, we're lengthening here to nothing at the side seam. So basically what happens is it drops down the front, but from here down, right? And then when you do that, see, it's going to pull the side seam. It's going to allow the side seam to straighten out a little bit, right? So there's that. And then back here, so here is the shoulder seam. I'll just draw it on for you. There's the shoulder seam, right? Now you can see here's this like screaming at me. This is what yours look like too, Rachel. Awesome. Then I know mine's gonna look great because yours looks great. So back here, you can see I have this gaping here, and that's not just the round back adjustment. Partly, you can see that the shoulder is not the right slope for me. So now when you're trying to diagnose slope issues on shoulders, you can get down a pretty deep rabbit hole of fit, right? So think of the slope as being able to be changed at 2 different points, right? So one thing we could do to make this settle on the shoulder is to open up the shoulder at the neck up here, right? And then once this pulled apart, then the whole shoulder could rest on my shoulder, right? So the other way to look at it is, oh, what if we take in the outer shoulder and then deal with whatever's left? Either way, you're gonna have something to deal with it, either way. Because the collar is kind of in a good spot, I'm not a fan of how it sits away from my back neck there, but that's not a big deal. I kind of like this, and I don't really see like anything pointing at my shoulders to make me think, oh, it's kind of tight right here. So I don't really feel like I need to open this up. And if I don't have to, that's great, because now I don't have to deal with the facing and the collar pieces, right? So we're trying to, bonjour, you know, kind of think about what we want to change and what we don't want to change, right? So I think that if I take out a little bit of this slope here and bring it forward by a lot, and actually, like you can see, the slope is really on the back, because look, here's my shoulder seam. Can you see it's right there? That's the seam. So I'm pinching out everything on the back. In other words, let me try and zoom in for you guys. And feel free to ask questions or suggest things. Like I love this kind of talk, honestly. Like I was talking with Judith, the pattern drafter at So Liberated yesterday, and I love talking with her because she'll be like, oh, but what about this? You know, like, don't forget this. And it's like, oh yeah, that's such a good point. Like, there's so many ways to come at it. I love it. So all right, so see how I pinched out most of the fullness there, and you can see it creates this point there. It's just too tight, right? So let's see if we'll just pinch it out there. Now I'm left with only the round back adjustment, and that I can solve with, you know, taking it off the lower back there. Come here, like this. This is on page 15 of the Fitopedia, like that, right? So the first steps with fitting is you really want to get your shoulders right. Like, I know the first thing you want to do is look at the bust, right? The bust or the waist or the hips. But if you take one thing away from learning about fitting from anybody, I hope that the thing you think about is getting your shoulders to fit first. Like 100%, get your shoulders to fit first. You want to get those so that the garment can settle there, and then you want to fix any like length issues, right? So length issues meaning like, okay, this bust is not in the right spot. We need to lower it. If there was a dart in here and the dart was pointing up some crazy thing or something, you know, it doesn't matter if you deal with circumference if you haven't dealt with the length. So deal with some of these length issues here. Armhole, whatever. And then deal with kind of the circumference and depth of things. And some of those you might bounce back and forth between, but get your shoulders right. Hi, Donna. How are you? Nice to see you. Okay, so I think the FBA is going to help this situation here a little bit, but I clearly need to do some work on this back armhole. So here is, I'm sorry, I'm like cut off. Let me see here. So here's what I'm proposing. And I also, the other thing I want you to take away from fitting, like when you're learning from fitting with anybody, because I'm not necessarily teaching you today, I'm just fitting my Donny. I'm happy to teach, but I'm not assuming that you came here to learn how to fit today. I just thought you would enjoy seeing the process I'm going to go through to fit this. So, and because everybody needs some fitting, right? Like all patterns need fitting. Like that's just how it is, right? So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut, I'm going to like, let's see, I'm going to decide that I want my dart to end about right here. I'm going to start there, maybe even like right here, somewhere in here. And I'm going to cut, this little L here, which you can't really see, but I'm not going to cut on my dress form because, draw on my dress form because I don't want the Sharpie to go through onto Trixie. I'm getting my scissors. Sorry, I brought my other little scissors home from my other machine. But I really use these little guys over here. So, yeah, I bet, Donna, this is your time to plant your garden, right? So that's one thing I'm going to do. So now, okay, we've got our shoulders kind of thinking what we want. We want to bring the seam forward. I'm going to bring it forward a lot. A lot. Like right there, okay? I'm going to pinch it. So yeah, so the other thing I was going to say is the two things I want you to take away from today. Start with your shoulders and don't do all of this fitting at once. You really need to do little bits, let it settle, and then go back. So if it was just me and I didn't have to cut and sew this with you by tomorrow, starting tomorrow, what I would probably do is I would do this whole shoulder adjustment, cut a muslin out without the collar, and then try it on. And then I would address my bust issue and the back hip issue. I would do it kind of in a two-part thing because you just never know what kinds of things will come up with once you get your shoulders fitting correctly. It may solve some things. It may reveal other things. So, all right, so then we have this going on, right? And I want to cut up here. So we're going to go like this. We're going to cut. This garment doesn't have a dart, so I'm sort of trying to figure out where I want it, right? If it had a dart and you were doing a full bust adjustment, you would slice right down the middle of the dart. So when you fold the dart to sew it, that little fold line, the one that's on the interior of the garment, that's where we would slice. And we can just let this relax here and see what we want here. And then maybe we could unpick this seam a little bit. Don't I have a seam ripper here? I do have a seam ripper here. I do. I'm going to unpick this a little bit here. Actually, I'm just going to leave that right there. All right. And so I'm going to cut up to the armhole, to the seam line. This only has a 3/8 inch seam allowance. And we're going to let this relax. All right. We're going to let this relax and see if we can kind of get the spacing that we need here in the bust. And see how it's already, see how the side seam now is straight? Like that. See that? That's already looking a lot better, right? We don't see the drag lines. It's hanging straight. And we really just need the spacing here. So let's tape some fabric back there. I've ruined it now. What are you talking about? Little rabble rouser. Let's see. I love fitting for one reason I love fitting is because it's like you go into the world of draping. I really should have brought some pins over here because I keep stealing the pins on this pin cushion. So let's just tape a little bit of muslin here. Kind of get nice and flat there. I feel like, I really should have left this connected right here and just sliced up to it, but I was being lazy not taking out my side seam, so let's get our side seam. We need this dart to open up at the side seam. I don't know why I would be lazy. I'm not a lazy person when it comes to this. That's good, Rachel. All right. I know you can't see, just a second. All right, so here we go. Let's let this all relax here and see what we want. I need to face it a little bit, sorry. I mean, honestly, we could do that. No, I think we're gonna do this. All right, so let's pull it up like that. Overlapping the amount we need. Probably could have left that undone. There we go. I hope that like this is such a good argument for why you use a fabric you don't care about, because sometimes you just need to cut into your muslin and see what happens. Like sometimes when I see someone fitting, whatever my instinct is, because sometimes my instinct will be like, I just want to cut right there and see it go, and then you can kind of like know exactly what it needs, you know? All right, so here we go. We have a little bit of a dart here. You can see it's overlapped right there, right? It's spreading apart. It's pretty relaxed now. I like that. I mean, look at the difference for this side versus this side. This little whoop-de-doo here, that'll be fine. That's just probably me not taping this very well. We won't get that because it'll be filled in flat fabric, right? All right, so let's tape this here. Nice and flat. You can pin it too. Tape's working pretty good. Let's see. All right. All right, and this is nice to see how much the back, now that we've taken that off, we can also see how much the back needs right there. See that? Yeah, exactly. Pinch and pull. Pinch and pull. Yeah, and it's okay. Drag lines are okay if you're comfortable. Like, I personally think the home sewing world is super obsessed with fit and getting rid of every little wrinkle. But, lighting, fabric, the day of the month, all those things can kind of, help your fitting. So this is already looking a lot better, doesn't it? Look at the back. Look at the difference. Look at the difference. If this is not an argument for a full bust adjustment, I don't know what is. Look at that. My little hip tilt's like, phew. I also like the length this is dropping down to better. This looked a little short for me. All right, so, boy, that feels really good. All right, so this right here is my side seam where I unpicked, right? And so, and that right there, see how it's, you can see my old seam there? So we need from there to here on the back. And that will help sort out this tilt a lot in the back. See that? It's hanging free now. I know that there's a lot of people that are very resistant to the FBA, but I think when you realize that darts are just so magical for giving you some shape that you need, you know? Yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking at, Aisha, there. So let's put a little piece of muslin back here. And maybe I'll put the tape on this piece first, right here. And then put this back here. I'm just trying to get this nice and flat. It's very easy to get yourself into a pickle with adding a curved amount. You don't realize you did it, you know? All right, so definitely fall away, buddy. Fall away. Just relax. We've got you. I should have marked my center line back here. I can kind of see the fold line right there. That would be good to know. You know, we don't want this to go past the center line on either direction, right? We want to make sure we're adding it. And remember that I haven't fit the other side. The other side's going to affect these changes that I'm making to this side, right? All right, so then let me scrimp on my pins here. This one's bent. I was really scrimping. I wouldn't even get rid of the bent one. Let's pin this. Always pin it so it hangs free. I'm really surprised how little it wants in the back hip. I'm surprised it doesn't need a lot more, but it was probably really the bust tying it up. Yeah, we'll do that next, Julie. Look at how much looser the back is. It's sort of shocking. I could probably bring it in a little. Make sure that we're not letting it relax too far past where the side seam is. You know, I never put pins in my mouth anymore, but I caught myself doing it the other day. And did you guys ever see that story on Instagram where the woman accidentally inhaled a pin? Thankfully, I remembered that. I was like, no, don't put the pins in your mouth. I stopped doing that a long time ago. Just mainly because it's gross. I think I tasted chocolate on a pin once and I was like, okay, that's gross. I was young. Invincible. All right, so we really only need like a ½ inch there. I'm shocked. I thought I needed 2 inches across the back. But look at, we added right here, we added 1 1/8 inches here and a ½ inch there. So we've added 3 inches in hem circumference with these changes. Hi, Sarah. Okay, yeah, chipmunk speed. All right. I like this. I think that the armhole looks a little still scooped in. So let's let's back that off a little bit. So the seam line is like right about here. And let's just mark that on there. Something like that. All right. And maybe that's wrong because this is supposed to be a little bit of a drop shoulder, right? We can see in the photo. So we could extend it and be more in line with it, but this is still not going to fly for me. This happens a lot on my garments. I have a forward shoulder, so usually I have to move it all forward a little bit there. And I always find that my back shoulder gets a little, or my back armhole gets a little flat. This is kind of interesting. So anyway, all right, so let's try and secure this a little bit with some fabric, even if I'm really hoping I don't have any flat curves in there. Flat curves, I guess that doesn't make sense. Can I reach in here and add this fabric here? If you have a really prominent bust and you find yourself looking at full bust adjustments for the first time, you might look at the Y, it's called the Y FBA, like as in the letter Y, because you do a line here and a line up here. So if you're finding that you have a lot of circumference right here that you're not finding comfortable, you can do a Y FBA. We don't hardly ever talk about them, but I just thought I'd mention it because they're really cool looking. Kind of a nerd that way. I like doing that kind of stuff. All right, Scotch tape. Okay, our center line still in the center. This side's still Funkorama. This side looks so much better. Very cool. Let's see, here's my list. So I wrote down shoulder, forward and sloped, round back, yep, FBA, yep, back hip, sorted. Sleeve, so the sleeve, once I make this change here, I'm wondering, do I want to add just more in circumference overall, like adding, I don't know, like 3/4 of an inch at each side seam, just to make it a little bigger, make, you know, more in line with if I had chosen the extra large, which is where they'd put me. But I just didn't want that 7 inches of ease, you know. And if we did that, like if we just added it, we can go right through the sleeve and make the sleeve a little fuller too. Because the sleeve doesn't bug me that much. Like it hangs pretty good considering it's pretty snug. Not too bad, you know, like I want to pull it down a little bit. If it was more of a drop shoulder, then it wouldn't need the cap height. The bicep just looks kind of small. It's not small, I should just say it's not very boxy, you know? I think it would go shorter too. All right. Why is there still one? Oh, here we go. I have 5 things there. Okay, so let's take this off really carefully. Oof, a little nervous about taking this off. Now that I have this secured with tape, I'm gonna just pin through it to get it off. And we'll make these additions. All right. Suck it in, Trixie. Suck those shoulders in. Okay. Okay. Oh, and of course, I'm so bad. This is why I don't get sponsorships. Hearts Fabric gave us this project today. That's why there's a coupon on the screen there. And we're using this Brussels washer linen in the jam color. It's really pretty. Brussels washer linen has a really nice linen-y texture. This is washed and right out of the dryer, so you can see it doesn't really wrinkle that much, which I love. I love the Brussels washer linen. I always recommend it to people, especially if you don't like to iron, but you still want that linen look, you know? And they have a huge slew of colors. All right, I'm just making room here. They sent me some thread. I love that. It is really nice, Karen. I know it's pretty, it feels pretty extravagant. But, you know, it's really hard to fit yourself sometimes because you can't look at your back, you know, having that third person. So that round back is, I only have the back done for Fittopedia. This is my little cheat copy here. And the one we're going to be doing, this is sold on my website, but the videos are all free. In this video, it looks like this one here. This is the video where this is covered. Yokes. It's called Yokes. And it's this adjustment right here on page 15. Sorry, mine's a little tiny copy because I just keep a couple copies of that like in my notebook and handy. Okay, so let's look at what we got here. Oh yeah, see we didn't secure this up here, but I feel pretty good that's nice and flat like that. All right, so let's draw this on here. So our seam line on this side seam here, let's just measure this. We need about, I'm going to say 5/8 of an inch, because if this continues down, this side seam continues all the way down straight, it's 5/8 of an inch. So we're going to plus 5/8 at side seam. And so now I can take this off so we can look at our FBA. I think this is like the only second time I've ever done an FBA on the channel. Hi Justine, how's it going? Oh, it's so good. It's called Jam, and I think that's the absolute perfect name for that color. And you know, I have a red Upton dress, the Upton by Cashmerette, and it just dawned on me today. I'm like, is this the same red? I don't think, it's not. This one is more watermelon-y, you know what I mean? And then the other one is more, I'm not gonna say tomato, but it's like a very ripe tomato. Because I love both these colors. And they asked me, they're like, what color do you want? And so I said, how about this one or this one or this one? I just kind of gave them a few. And then they also sent this project here, the Taya dress by Pattern Fantastique. And this right here is the new hemp. Oh, it's called Davenport Hemp. I'm super in love with this fabric. I love hemp. Wrinkles a little more. Color is called Mist. It's so good. We'll make that maybe in May. I have another project for them that I very much neglected to sew, and now it's going to start getting too warm, so I need to do it, but it's this one too. The Style Arc Ascot Tunic. And they sent me, is Susan here? Because I think the fabric that she just made her Sew House 7 dress in. And then I have the, I think this is the Heart's Fine Cotton. Well, I don't have a sheet on this one. I think that's partly why I didn't sew it. Okay. All right. So here we go. Here is our front changes, and let's just look and see, you know, how we did here. We get this nice and flat, right? We don't want to be adding a cup in a way that we can't mimic on flat paper. Is the hemp heavy enough for trousers? Yeah, definitely. I would say it's a little heavier than the Essex, but with more drape. Some of the Essex linen is super stable as far as drape goes. I'm not going to say it's stable as far as like as a linen. You know, like linen still does linen stuff, right? But as like if you were to make the Mitchell trousers or something like that, yeah, they would be perfect for it. Oh no, Justine. It's a bummer. Yeah, it's called Davenport Hemp. So if you search the Hearts website, Davenport Hemp, yeah. There's a few colors. All right. Here's my dart right here, so we can kind of see here is my dart. So we ended up, it's not even a very large dart. It's only 1 inch. Kind of surprising. Aw, that's a bummer, Justine. You need a redo. Okay, so then our, we're gonna move the shoulder forward. Let's say 3/4 at the neck. I could do a parallel amount. And a solid 1 inch at the shoulder. And then we're gonna slope it more. Let's see, say, oof, 3/4 minus on the back. And then the round back. Is so much. Holy. I'm one of those really cringy people where I pick up on things other people say, like their little isms, and then I sound so silly because I say them, like, holy. Sorry. It's a problem. I also will pick up people's, like the way they talk, the way they say things, you know? I'm not really good at it, but if I had been, I would be really good at it. Like imitating people. All right, so we'll transfer this later. Okay, let's do this to the pattern now. I put all my pattern pieces on some dot paper because this was a tissue pattern that was sent to me in an envelope, not a PDF, and I cut out the wrong size, so I had to grade it up a little bit. Oh, one big note on this pattern is it's 3/8 inch seams, and I will probably change those to 5/8 so I can French seam it. 3/8, I only think of 3/8 seams on knits, but I know that seam allowance is really popular in Europe. I just don't like to overlock and serge all my seams, and I don't have a zigzag, so, you know. That's awesome, Justine. You've commented on so many of the Fitopedias. Thank you. You're like, I always come back to this. That's you, right? Pretty sure. Okay, let me get some paper. I've got it all cut right here. Got some paper. So let's measure here. So basically what we're going to do is the same thing to our paper, right? So I'm going to measure on my armhole where I cut. And if you were to try this out with your pattern, usually this sort of syncs up to where the armhole notch is. Their armhole notch is really high up, So it's always good if you can check where you need it. But in general, that armhole notch on patterns is an, how do I put this? When the sloper was drafted, that notch is an indication of something. Like it was drafted in there purposely because it reflects a certain dimension of all these things coming together. And so it's a spot that you refer back to a lot. So it's usually 3 or 3.5 inches away from the side seam, roughly, on pretty much everybody, which is really interesting. And it's used as a point for establishing things like like this, what we're doing here, darts, and as a pivot point for darts and princess seams and fullness and things like that. So people can put it wherever they want. Theirs is really high up, but in general, it's usually kind of in the crook of this curve here, and you can rely on it as a very safe place to slash and spread and slash and overlap with. So, all right. Yeah, so I'm just double checking. 3.5. Let's turn this around at me. All right, so put that there. And then we're going to measure from the center front here where the seam was. Let me orient you guys. This is the center front, right? And we're going to measure over. Right there. And then let's see if we can kind of figure out where this pivot point was that I did. Use my tracing wheel to mark it the best I can, because that'll be faster to do. You can see the tissue there. Really gently. Let's just trace it on here like this. Not bad. Okay. So this is I can't see. Here it is right here. Okay. This line's usually parallel to your center front. This garment here, like when you're below where this drill hole is for, see here's the revere or the lapel. If there was no collar, it would be a revere, but this is the lapel. So right here, the pattern is a straight line going down, but everything above where this notch is, that's going to go out from the center. So you couldn't put this on the fold, in other words. So, all right, so we have our cut line here. And go up to the seam line there. And then let's measure down our cut line to there. 3 3/4 right here. And we'll mark those like this. There's countless full bust adjustment tutorials out there too. I know it's there. All right, so I'm gonna go up to that little point there. I'm not going through it. So now I can kind of go like this, right? I can overlap my dart, right, like this. There we go. All right, so let's this on the paper. If you wanted to fit this and not add a dart, you could probably get something that you like still without having the dart and kind of staying with this nice like boxy feel. You might just need to play with it a little bit. I would probably, you know, pull all of this out like this. I would slice probably from here, like on the seam line here, I would slice all the way down and then kick all this out, like making this shoulder point a pivot point. And then kick all of this out and try that to see if you can kind of get more volume going across, which is going to let it hang better if you have breast tissue and you don't want to cup it with the dart. I'm not really cupping it, but I am kind of picking up the slack at the bottom. So you can always try that too. All right, so let's see, the amount that we want down here I measured was, I didn't really put my muslin all the way down there. It's quite a bit. Something like this. And you want this to get, like you'll get it parallel, and then I sort of want you to move. Why are you getting hung up on something here? Let's see, fine, here we got rid of that. But FBAs have changed my life. Yeah, right. You rotated the dart out. What do you mean? Like you got rid of it? Oh, yeah. So you put it there and then you got rid of it. Is that what you mean? So this dart, we wanted to be about 1 inch, right? So I'm measuring always on the seam line. So I'll use my Sharpie so you can kind of see it really clearly. And just to be clear, like what we're looking at here is the size, the tissue, the brown tissue is the size that I originally cut out. And then I decided I didn't want that because I've made 2 muslins. You just didn't see the first one. And then I graded it up. So there's a purple line around here where I graded this up just using the same grade as the Friday Pattern Company pattern. So, right. So now this red line right here, this one, that's the seam line. So I know it looks like I'm outside the pattern, but I just graded up. So yeah, no worries, Aisha. I like that. Okay, so now we have, I'm just trying to mimic what I did on the muslin there. And so you want these to be pretty much parallel, and everything needs to be flat because it needs to be able to be a flat piece of paper. That looks good. I like that. If you missed the changes I'm making, you might want to watch back because I had a muslin on the dress form and then I'm making all these changes to it. And I show you the changes on the muslin on the dress form. So you can kind of see one side of the dress form has it and one side doesn't. So, all right, so here is our dart and stuff here. And then we'll need to get our dart legs there. All right, that looks pretty good. So the other change we need to do is our forward shoulder here. So we're just gonna make it very, and don't draft with Sharpies, you guys. This is such bad technique. I would never do this if you weren't watching. So it's just so you can see my lines, and I lost my black one. So here's my black one. But use a pencil, please. All right, so we're gonna do 1 inch at the shoulder and 3/4 at the neck. And I'm gonna just cut this off and tape it to the back. And it's not done yet. Where's my yoke? Here we go. So we're going to trim all this off here. Yeah, you can have a huge dart, that's fine. I have a really huge dart on my sloper. Add that there. I messed up my grade when I did this, so it looks a little funky, but don't worry, we're gonna fix it. All right, and then now I'm going to make sure my transition at my neckline and my shoulder is okay. And remember, we're also going to take out some of this back shoulder as well. So let's do that. So I've just moved the shoulder line forward, and now I'm gonna trim off the back shoulder. What was the amount? Is it really that much? Oh, that makes me so nervous. But I can kind of see it. It's kind of flat, and I want a little more slope there. So many changes, and like I said at the beginning, don't do all these changes at once on yours. Get your shoulders fitting correctly. 100% shoulders, 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 back, like that whole upper portion of your body. Get your garment hanging there, and then go on to the other things you're thinking about. It's worth the extra muslin. I wouldn't, like, once I did one with a collar because I really wanted to check it out, and I wanted to try sewing it and make sure, okay, this is how I'm going to sew it on the stream or whatever. I don't usually practice those things, but it's kind of, it was there. I could do it, right? The next one, you don't need another collar. You can just do your yoke, your back, and your fronts. That's it. And just sew up your center seam, shoulders, your side seams, your yoke to your bottom. That's it. It's really easy. So, all right. So let's try this new shoulder out. I'm going to trim off this excess here. And now we're going to try our transitions here. So we're going to overlap this so as if it's sewn here, right? Like that. Why does that look okay? And we'll look at our neck transition and our shoulder transition like that. So we're just trying to get a nice smooth line here. You don't want it to be like this, right? Because when you go to sew your sleeve onto that, you're being like, what do I do with this little point, right? So you want to make sure you have a nice smooth transition. All right, and then while we're here, let's look at, did any of my, I kind of did, but you know, I'm wondering now if I should drop the shoulder more, like bring it out, but this is feeling like too many changes at this point. So probably what I'll do is once I add to the back hip circumference, I think that's when I'm going to cut another muslin, try all this out, and then refine the sleeve and maybe the length as well. So, all right, so here we go. This is our new back here. And our new front. Let's fold our dart so we can get the shape at the side seam here. It's just easier to do this. When you fold your dart, I find this to be super fussy. I will fold it, I will pinch it right here at the end of the dart, right here, right? And then I crease it, right? And then when I go to fold it now, as if it's sewn, I'm going to hold my finger right here at the vanishing point. I'm going to use my other hand. I have my finger there like this. I'm going to pull it over. Do not take no for an answer here. You really want to get all of this folded correctly, and you don't want it to go past this point. Don't let it go past this point. So just fight it. Some darts are harder to do than others. And then I'll use a little bit of removable tape. No, let go of me. There we go. A little bit of removable tape. And if you like folding your dart with the fold down, same thing, to just fold it going this way, right? Doesn't matter. You can do however you want. And then we'll cut this out. And now we have our little bit of shape, which I don't have much there. That's kind of surprising. But it's a pretty straight side seam. Oh, I didn't true this up yet. So let's add down here, because this lengthens the front a bit, and we'll blend it in to this seam here. So let me draw this in for you so you can kind of see what my target is right here. And then this was the old, right? But we just lengthened it by pulling it down, right? All that, right? So now we're going to kind of blend this in. I'm going to lengthen it here at the front. I'm looking for a right angle. I'm getting caught on a piece of tape right there. It's really annoying. Now, I will lengthen this probably overall a little bit more. And I'm going to need to lengthen the side seam because when we created this dart, we have shortened the side seam this much. So right now, if I am to put this up to the back, it wouldn't sew together. So let's see here. So here is my front lined up. Oh, it does. Why is that working? That's funny. Oh, because I added the paper there. That's why. Never mind. Okay. Well, in general, you will find that sometimes your dart won't match anymore. Like if you if you made it larger, like if you already had a dart there, you did the FBA and you increased the dart size, you're going to lose some length in your side seam because it goes into the pattern, right? I sliced and added it, so that's why I didn't come across that. So just make sure that you put your side seam together, line it up to your back, and then double check that you have a nice smooth transition right here, okay? All right, so this is looking pretty good. Let's just trim off all this so we see what we're dealing with here. I'm excited. I mean, obviously I drafted a pullover camp shirt last year, but I did a camp shirt's a little different because this is a notched collar. And mine had a popover placket. So I'm glad I can finally be one of the cool kids with the Donny. Although this shirt's gonna live at Hearts Fabric. So I gotta make my own. You added here. This is because like I said, this brown paper isn't the pattern piece I'm dealing with. I graded the pattern onto the dot paper, and that's my pattern piece. All right, so let's add to the back side seam here in this hip circumference. You guys are really quiet. Always make me nervous. I always interpret that as blah, blah, blah. I'm just going to surf Instagram. All right, I'm going to secure my paper always on the back. All right, and then let's see. Where's our muslin here? Ignore you. I could never ignore you, Julie. All right, so here, oof, I'm losing it. Didn't I pin this? Good thing we wrote this amount down. Jeez, I kind of lost this little piece of paper. Tape is never the greatest, but you know. You're paying close? Okay, good. Well, I mean, there's no test. I just want to make sure it's interesting to you guys. All right, so I wrote that amount down right here. So we're going to add this 5/8 at the side seam here. Now, when you're adding something like this, like I added it to the cut line, and I feel pretty confident to do that because I've done this many times, and I know what I have to fix when I'm not working on the seam line. So if you're kind of new to doing this stuff, I always suggest cut off all your seam allowances, work on your seam line, then add all your seam allowances back. There's nothing more accurate than that. So I look at like this line that I added, in correlation to where I think the hemline is. And I'm not sure what the hem allowance is on this, but it looks like a rolled hem. So I'm going to say it's like 3/4, right? So it's about right there. And then up here, I know that I need to be done adding it by the seam line on the underarm here, because that's the end point of it, right? Like this. Oops, that moved a little bit. All right, and then we can add that. And then now I'm gonna have to check my transition because we added an angle back here. So let's pin this shut. And then I'm gonna draw in my seam allowance as a parallel line. Line up the front as if it's sewn right here. And just make sure that my transition is still good. I don't know why it is, but it is. Great. Good to know. All right. All right, so the last thing I need to do to this back, I will work on that armhole, but I'll probably work on it after I do one more muslin. We're gonna round the back here. So I'm gonna take it off like this. So I'm adding it like right here. And then we're going to blend this in. We need to maintain a right angle right here, right? Just like that. And then here's the dart for the gather, so make sure I don't lose that. And that's going to get rid of that gape along the back armhole. You can always hide it with yokes because there's a seam. All right, and then let's trim this. Ooh, what happened there? Eating lunch, that's good. What are you having for lunch? I brought well, I've been making wraps. I made a turkey wrap, and I'm so excited. I bought bread and butter pickles, the shape for sandwiches, and then I forgot to put it on my sandwich. We have this really, well, we don't. But where I used to live, there was this mustard called Larapin. It's a mustard dill sauce. And it's the one thing we still go and like we order it. And I have that on there too. I'm excited about it. We're going to get fish and chips tonight for dinner because we have kind of a newish restaurant. It doesn't happen very often here. Okay, so let's look at my list here. We did the shoulder, round back, the FBA, the back hip. And then my other things here that I wrote down are my sleeve, the collar perimeter and length, and my pocket placement. Because I didn't try a test pocket. So while I'm doing all these muslins, might be a good idea, right? To kind of see where I want that pocket. I can kind of tell this armhole, just by looking at it, isn't my armhole. Like I need more scoop back here. Because I have more tissue too back there. Ooh, that sounds good. Kale and broccoli, what? Kale and broccoli sauce? The stupid reactions thing is covering that word. All right, so here's the sleeve. We'll leave this guy for now. We have the facing that we need to true up. And we need to true up the collar. Because we moved where the shoulder seam is, this notch on the collar needs to move too. Otherwise, you might be a little confused when you go to sew it, right? So we can do that. One thing I noticed about this collar is that it's really straight along this edge here. And I'm wondering if I want to make it a little bit more curved. Or maybe if I want to take in some of the perimeter. I'm not sure. I was looking at it and it just barely meets the seam on me. right? When it's folded down, it just goes right to the seam. And the other thing I noticed is that it sits away from, like if this is the side view, here's the yoke seam right here, right? Here's my collar, right? Just like this. The neck seam kind of sits out like this away from my neck. So the problem with this is if I really wanted to bring that closer, that means that it chokes up the hem circumference along the bottom, right? So now, you know, you have more of a curve, right? See now the collar is got this more of a curve. So that if we're looking at apples to apples, that was like me, well, it's this side, right? Like this. So it'd be like going like this, right? But at the same time, we don't want to make that so small that then it can't fold down, right? Like this. Because now it's too short along here. So this would take a little bit of finagling. And what I think it needs is just more contouring. The hard part for me is that I always draft collars going this way, and so I'm confused. So I think that, and if I were to look at this at the neck, like, let's just cut this out so we can kind of see it. It's just something I'm thinking about. I'm honestly fine with it. Like, it's not something I feel the need that I have to change at all. Like, at all. It's fine. But I like the exercise, and I like the challenge of just kind of like, what would it take? Right? So if we were to look at, if we drafted it ourselves, right? Okay, here's our neck. Broccoli salad. Oh, I could only see the SA. I thought it was sauce. That sounds good. Broccoli salad. Yum. Oops. Let's secure this tissue a little better to our pattern piece here. I really need to replace this. My little blade, I think, is getting dull, or it's getting pushed into the thing, because I'm like, just need to get to do it. It's like one of those things I never remember to do. Okay, so here is our collar, right? And so if this was built onto the pattern, the neckline, it would look like this. Like if you were drafting this, it would be something like this, right? So my argument is that I think it needs a little more articulation like this. And then maybe a little bit of a curve here. Let me get my little thing out, actually. I have it handy. I just drafted this. Okay. Which one is it? I organized all of my sewn samples. This is it right here, I think. Yeah. My little... Oh no, this is shawl. I was fooled. Here, this one. This one's the notched. Big, big, big difference. Even if people tell you otherwise. No, this is, oh, I have the pattern with the wrong one. That's what it is. I knew that was the right pattern. It was just with the wrong sample. There we go. So we can see this is a good diagram, right? So you can kind of see, right? Here is the collar. And this right here, that's the lapel. Here's the front neck. Here's the shoulder. Here's the back neck. And you can see we usually drop this down a little bit because you need this little bit of extra depth when you turn the collar so that it covers the seam. And it is a straight line here, but maybe what I'm thinking it needs, when I think about it, yeah, actually maybe what I would do is drop this down a little bit right here. Maybe I won't mucking around with it at all, huh? I'm kind of curious though. Because what you're looking for is that roll line. So here's the supposed break point right here. So if this was laying here and then you sewed it and you folded it back as if you were wearing it, there's your notched collar. It's like stay like this, right? Going around like this. And what I want is this right here, the fold line, to be shorter, which I can't do, right? I can't just make this shorter unless I pull this in here. What if I did do that? Oh, that's so interesting to think about. Like, what if we, do you mind if I'm experimenting? I'm kind of curious about this. I'm not going to ruin this piece here though. So let's trace this off. I think this collar's fine. Oh, we actually might want to change that notch, right? Okay. But I do like the idea of, what if I wanted this to change, right? All right, so here's our fold. What if I slice it here? Because I think I could articulate it a little better. So, okay, I'm going to slice it here. I have to go all the way through that. And then this is the seam line. All right, so if we wanted to pull this down, like this, I don't know if you can see, and we pulled this down right here, and we got ourselves a little more articulation. I really need the center back to stay on the fold. I'm just thinking here. So if I pull this down, I've gotten rid of probably, I would say, a 1/4 inch in overall length, which I'd have to add back, right? Because I really want it to cover. But what I've done is kind of go whoop, like this, right? I sort of cinched it a little bit, shortening this line here. So let's see, did I actually shorten it? Let's look at before. Here, we'll just use this one as before. This one measured 9 and, whoa, the deer are on the move down there. 9 3/4, right? So if we pull this down and we pull this in here, and it looks like this, we don't want to do that much. So we could even put a few more. So that doesn't really change the length. Okay. Interesting. That's not what I want to do. I want the roll line to be less flared. And there's no seam there. So if the roll line, if I want to shorten this, I need this to go this way. I think I need to cut the other direction. I'm pretty much done with all my alterations today. I'm just playing around. I'll cut my next muslin and sew it. It's already 12:30. But I don't have to do that on camera. Unless you guys want to see it. That's probably more important than this collar change, honestly. I can play around with this any old day. Let's do that. Let's do, I'll play around with this someday, but I can really get distracted. This is when you put the pug in the chat for sure. Okay. Let's true up the collar and the facing to reflect the changes. And then I'll cut my muslin out. And I'll just do the shell first without the sleeve. Determine what we need next. Okay, so we moved, let's change, let's re-measure this here. And then measure it on here. It's gonna be, wait, what? Oh, okay, that makes more sense. I was not reading my ruler right. Okay, here is my new notch. And then let's double check that we didn't do anything hinky, right? Okay, we're good. All right, so that's good. We just need to move our notch because we moved our shoulder. And then our facing needs to reflect this shoulder change. Easy peasy though, we just trim off the shoulder of the facing here. It would really help if I had that trimmed there. Okay, there we go. That's all we have to do there. There's no back neck facing, so we don't even need to add it to anything else. That's it. Okay, so now all of my things are trued up. I might round this because I think I'm going to Hong Kong finish the facing down here. You know. Yeah, right, Dee? I think that's it. I think that I need to go the other direction. Yeah. Okay, so something like that. Wait, do I want that? I love the top stitch detail on this. What do you think? Curved or square? I think square might be, should maybe stay that way. I was going to do a curve because it's easier to put the binding on a curve. So let's just not cut that out yet. We'll just leave it like that. All right, we can think about that. We have time. We can even do that like when it's all cut out. I can think think about it then. We've bigger fish to fry right now. All right, let's see here. Let's get some muslin. Let's put this away. We need all these pieces. We don't need this. I want to keep this play collar though. Yeah, I was thinking about, I could do that. I was thinking about using bias, but that might be too bulky, huh? Maybe I should just stick to turning it under, huh? This is for my sleeve. I only ever cut one sleeve out, so then I always have the other piece of fabric to do another one with. Get it on grain, you know. Oh, jeez. Jeez. There we go. I think on my first muslin, I actually like did a quick hem so I could see what the length was. I wonder why they do 3/8" seams. That's all I need. That's so small. It's fine for the collar, but I don't know. All right, we have sleeve. We're gonna leave off the collar and the facing, and we're just gonna cut front, back, and yoke. Yeah, I do need to alter the sleeve, but I'm going to see how this is fitting before I do that, because you just never know. Oh my goodness, it's such a baby green line. All right, and then let's, well, let's put this on the fabric first, huh? I'm gonna use it's a muslin, so I always use my screw punch on darts. Cheat. Yeah, that's true, Justine. I just can't French seam it. Oh, really? Yeah, I did them a while ago. I was just playing around with my collar. All right, so let's mark the pocket on here. So I think it would have been this one here. So let's just do this. here. That's the recommended pocket. So we have a front now. We just need a back and a yoke. I think I can get that in right there. But what we're going to do is we're going to cut this off. I'm going to save a little fabric and refold this. Yeah, I know what you mean, Rachel. I was watering plants last night at 11:30 before I went to bed because I knew that if I got in bed knowing that those two plants needed water, I wouldn't be able to fall asleep. I'd be like, we're thirsty, you know, and I'd feel so bad that I'm like, night, you know, knowing they're like parched. I have a couple plants that are so thirsty. I water them every day, just a little bit every day. Whatever's left in my water glass, you know, in the morning, I'm like, here you go. But sometimes I'm thirsty and there's no water left. I think when I did the side seam, Rachel, what did I have left? Oh, I had the shoulder stuff. Yeah. I didn't do the armhole or sleeve changes. Just the shoulder and the back, waist. Oh, shoot. I was too low, but that'll be okay for the sample. And the FBA, or just adding the dart. Those are the kind of the big things I did. And then I'm gonna do this muslin, see how everything is hanging, then do my sleeve changes. Man, muslin, there's no crease like a muslin fold crease, right? Okay. Yeah, we can get that in there. Okay, cool. Okay. Do you guys want to sew this up with me? Hi, Sydney. How's it going? I don't know what my machine looks like. Oh, it's not too bad. Let's do some zoomage here. Oh, here it is, right here. Oh, no, that worked. Oh, okay, okay. It's taking a while to register there. Shoot, here we go. Okay. Let's go over there. Let me get all my pieces here. We have our back, yoke, front, sleeve, and we'll turn on the iron as we walk by. Oh, wow. So you guys have been busy? Busy, busy? All right, this muslin will probably only take me a few minutes to sew up, and then we'll try it on the dress form and see where we think we are. Why is it so dark still? Well, you caught up, Sarah? I was doing a few things that weren't very important too. All right, so let's do our dart. I'll show you another cheat thing I do on muslins. If you're like, oh, I don't want to sew darts. I go like this. I go right past the, or not past, but I drilled it so there's a hole. So I go right up to the vanishing point. I turn around and I go back into the dart along the fold and back stitch. On my garments, I'll hand tie it. But on a muslin, I'll do that because it's faster and it won't come undone. But you see, here's my drill hole. See, right there. I put that in there just before the vanishing point. So I know to go just past it. It's kind of big because my other tip on that screw punch is dull. So I switched to a larger tip. So it's a little harder to conceal, but on the muslin it doesn't matter so much. But you know, I wouldn't want that in my final. You can see there's quite a notch out of the fold there. All right, so now we have our darts. Let's put our back on here. Might be able to use a shearing foot. I think this is a little too much though. Oh, I don't know, Sydney. That'd be a good exercise. That'd be so fun to know how many Donnies are in the guild. We're going to need a sign that says it has been 14 days since a new Donny has appeared. And then someone will knock it down to 0 again, right? I'm only doing one yoke for the muslin as well. Just, you know, saving time and fabric. All right, so let's see. Am I in the ballpark? Where's the center? Yes. I'll do the front. The front. That's true. I think Elena is still in the lead with all of their Gilberts. Maybe that's our goal. How many, can we sew more Donnies than Elena's sewn Gilberts together collectively as a group? You worked on the weekend too. Whoa. Do you feel like you're having to make up because you went on like you took time off or something? Like, did they need you? They missed you? I'm doing the center front seam now, just up to the notch there that I forgot to put on. So we'll just eyeball it. Right about there, and then we'll do our side seams. We might have enough heat to press this right now. Oh, I didn't configure my iron either. Excuse the number of filing cabinets in my office right now. I'm kind of whittling down to from 3. It's my fan cord there. It got hot the other day in here. Is it really? Is there really? They're doing a Donny challenge? Mary? How did we not know this? I like the Yorkshire Sewing Girl. Oops. I love how I was trying to get rid of these like muslin bolt creases, and I just added like 6 more creases trying to do that. Okay, we just want it to hang, you know, somewhat nice. We don't want to just see the wrinkles of the muslin. My bolt is almost gone though, so it's all the wrinkles are showing, you know, like the end of bolt stuff. If you don't think ironing your muslin is worth it, it solves fit issues, I'm here to tell you. And muslin's really fun to iron. I love ironing muslin. It's so malleable, you know. All right, side seams and sleeve. Super quick, super quick. They're doing a blouse challenge. Oh, yeah. Okay, Dee, got it. Oh, okay, got it. There's a lot of Donnies. That's awesome. I think the Donny came out almost like a year ago to the day, right? So maybe they're having a celebration for it. That's true, Muslin. Okay, there we go. So I was still considering adding just some overall circumference to make it boxier. Did I fold I think I folded my dart the opposite way that I planned on folding it. Oh well, it works still. All right, so we'll do our sleeve. I haven't been putting this on for my Donny muslins, but I'm going to show you. This is my new favorite way to add easing to the sleeve cap. Terry gave me this idea. Mama said so. Terry said so? No. So I use a shearing foot. I bought this thing. I've had it for a while, and I was like, what's this foot for? I forgot. And Terry's all, that's your shearing foot. So I will just put a line of stitches using this. The hole makes me really nervous though. And then that's all I need to do. So is it worth switching out the foot? I don't know. It's fun to use. I don't know if I would get that new turret foot, or not new, but that turret foot to hold the shearing foot just for that, but maybe for 2 sleeves too. Kind of cool. And it puts pretty much the right amount of ease in there. All right, where's the front? This side's the front? Okay. Goes this way. Hey, Jackie, how's it going? Oh, yeah. Jackie, it's you I have to thank. I have not stopped thinking about that blouse. I think it would be a really cute dress. I know that's not in the zero waist layout. What's the shirt called? Is the shirt called, wait, with the company is Goldfinch, right? Goldfinch Textiles on Instagram. And then her new zero waist blouse. What's it called? Because I just don't know. I think a long sleeve, if someone did a long sleeve version maybe, depending on the sleeve they chose for the Donny, it could look PJ-ish. But I know Monica's done like balloon sleeves, right? Oh, I got this kind of a little to this direction. I didn't change. Oh, I did change my armhole circumference. Yeah, so the sleeve is gonna definitely feel tighter probably. But that's okay. This is why we're doing this. But I'm having a little more trouble getting it in there with this amount of easing. That's okay. This is good info. Good info. We love it. Okay. Oh yeah, the long Gilbert, exactly. The Pierce blouse. Okay, thank you. Okay, so let's go back over. Why am I having trouble with this? And then we'll. Put it on the dress form. No, not at all, Jackie. Zero waste is a fun challenge though, right? Oh, you asked about the sleeve on that one? I'm going to adjust this camera a little bit. That just got brighter, didn't it? My other camera just did that too. We can't need another computer. Yeah, it really is a challenge. What are you finding the most challenging with it then? I imagine we'll get to talk about that in Pattern Chatter next month. Okay. Let's put our little Revere on. Oh, that's right about the sleeve. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you were right. You were right. Okay. This is looking a lot better. Look at that. Hanging free. We still have a little tilting happening because we've added some volume in the front. I'm not really opposed to it. Okay, so let's look at the before. I have to go to this view to show you. So here's my before. So you can see it's hanging up on my back hips. You see those drag lines pointing to the bust. I do not even recognize myself anymore. So weird. When you see yourself on camera a lot, it's not the best thing in the world sometimes. Okay, so hi Elena. We're just checking out I just made a new muslin, so I'm showing the before. So here's the before front. So all the drag lines pointing to the bust. The hip tilt. Darkness, my old friend. All right. The shoulder seam, don't jump like that. Yeah, so here we go. And then here's the after so far. So I added a full bust adjustment. This right here, I'm pretty sure is happening because my sleeve is a little snuggaroo. And see right there, it's just a little smaller here. So we're gonna open up the armhole. We know this. Let's see if we can get it to relax a little bit though, come on. Yeah, I think we need to open this up a little bit. We don't have the tilt in the back anymore. Side seam could come back a little bit maybe, but I'm not sure I would fix that until I try this on myself because I am a little bigger. So yeah, I think this was really, you're at 18 Gilberts. Okay, yeah, we were wondering, Elena, if you've made more Gilberts than everybody's made Donnies in the guild. Yeah. Let me consult my Airtable. All right, so I'll try this on after the stream and see. So this is what I'm thinking I might do if I like where this is at. I'm going to look at adding overall circumference just to give it a little bit more room and maybe even drop the shoulder. And then I'll make my sleeve changes based on that. I know, Elena. But we were wondering like, we might be getting close. I've made neither. You've counted 22 of the people you know without. Wait. Okay, anyway. Yeah, you are one pretty amazing person, Elena. Gilbert-tastic. Elena was showing us her caftans in the live chat feed this morning. Oh, never get tired of looking at those. There we go. Oh no. Challenge. All right, well, I think that was pretty good. We did a lot of changes. Oh, I like the shoulder seam in the front there. Oh yeah, baby. I like that a lot more. Maybe I'll just open this. I'm going to try it on. Yeah. Oh, Jackie made 5. Okay. Dang. It's like, do you guys remember that MTV show, Celebrity Deathmatch? And it was claymation figurines. And it would be like, you know, Lady Gaga versus, you know, The Rock. In claymation form. It was ridiculous. That's what we need. We need a Gilbert versus Donny. Celebrity death match. Yeah, you got other. You're onto other things right now. Yeah, I like it. I like it. It looks really cute. So you see how it swings forward? I will admit that's partly my posture. It kind of does that even when I fix things sometimes. But I think if I work on it a little bit here, it helps sometimes. But yeah, cool. Yeah, right, Elena? It was so ridiculous. I remember at the time going like, what the heck? But it's so funny. All right, well, thanks for coming, you guys. I hope that was interesting. I guess I'm not on camera there. So, yeah, it's a uniform for you. You don't think you can make 18 Donnies? You never know. So 27. Dang. Well, once I fit mine, I'm going to add mine. So, all right. So I will let you know exactly what I do to this one and give you a little video tomorrow and show you my pattern changes if anything is really significant. And I will cut out my Donny in the Brussels linen today, unless you want me to do this tomorrow. So here's the thing. I could sew this down. Oh, big note. I am not streaming Saturday. I am streaming today, Thursday, Friday. 3 days in a row. I'm going to the American Sewing Guild fabric sale in Sacramento. If you want to come to that, I posted about it in the guild. Anyone can go. You have to bring cash or check to buy things. But I'm going to be doing that on Sacramento on Saturday. So I'm not going to be able to stream. So I'm going to stream this today, tomorrow, and Friday. I can sew this whole thing in one sitting. So if you want, we could do the part 2 fitting and cutting out tomorrow and sew complete on Friday. What would you guys like? Or I can do all my changes, cut it out today, and sew part 1 tomorrow, part 2 Friday. But the sewing will be pretty darn quick. It's definitely my wheelhouse. Would you like all, like, sewing Friday, cutting Thursday? Let's see. I'll do a poll so that we don't get the whole yes, no, and I don't really know. So 1 Thursday, so 2 Friday. Oops. Oh, yeah. I'm trying to fit it into the box here. Okay, hopefully this is understandable enough. It's in the live chat if you want to vote. Okay, Jackie. Oh, okay. Do you want to cut with me tomorrow? Oh, really? Cool. I mean, that would save me a lot of time this afternoon. I like doing everything on camera. But I understand if you rather split the sewing. Oh, yeah. I love these votes. There's only 10 votes, and there's 50 of you here. So those of you watching on your TV, you can do this on your phone. I know you're watching on your TV. Some people just don't log in either. Hi, Naomi. How's it going? Make sure you give enough time to choose buttons on Friday. There's no buttons on this. It's a pullover. See? I'm a few no buttons. It does take me a bit, doesn't it? 14 votes. If you can't vote, you can write it in the chat. All right, so tomorrow we'll continue fitting and I'll cut it out. And then Friday we will sew it all up. That sounds great. I like that. I like doing this with you guys too, so cool. All right. What? Yeah, I'm doing the Donny, and it's a pullover. Yeah. So yeah. Cool. All right. Sounds good. So then I will see you tomorrow. I'll try this on, make a little video, do the same thing today that I did today, and we'll continue this. This is fun. I'm loving this. I'm liking that we're doing fitting in these two now. So sometimes choosing, but yeah. Well, actually, you guys, I brought my buttons home because I have this new sewing machine with a buttonhole attachment now, and so I do all of that at home now. So yeah, I brought all my buttons home. And then the fabric is that Brussels washer linen and jam. So, and you know, Naomi, maybe you're thinking of the Joni, because I feel like the Joni came out at the same time last year, and it's a name as well. So maybe that's the one you're thinking of. Sarah. Let me tell you about my buttonhole attachment. Man, I am sewing up a storm at home. I love it. All right. Thanks for coming, you guys. Appreciate it. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for some more fitting fun. All right. Bye. Also, like, did I do like extra on this thumbnail or what? It's so ridiculous. I was laughing. Anyway, okay. Bye.